Hi guys, Amanda here. Day 2 of my self-appointed apparently 90-day challenge. So a question that was asked, I think Amberly, you asked it again also, the other day was regarding the points of view of writing. So, for my second video, I wanted to discuss that. So, like I mentioned before, I have been writing for quite some time. To be fully honest, I've been writing since I was 11 years old, and as of this recording, I am 32, so officially 21 years worth of writing experience. Many of those were spent in public school and college, so what can I say? So, the different points of view of writing. Whoa, that was a big jostle. Sorry, guys. Sorry, my, I decided to rearrange my bookshelf today, and the tray that I usually use, the folding table that I usually use to set my computer on while I'm recording, is currently full of books. So I apologize for the wobbly video. I will have that cleared off by tomorrow, and it'll be a much more steady video next time. So, anyway, there are four. I like to say that there are 4 points of view. So when you're writing, and this is stuff that they go over in middle school, high school, English literature class, and you've probably experienced all of them at one point in time or another. So let's start with, I guess let's go in order. So first is first person point of view. That is where you basically are speaking from your own experience. So I, me, mine, you use first person pronouns. That's when, usually, like if you're talking about a work of fiction, that is when you get deep into your character's head and you make the voice that you're telling the story from your main character's voice. You get deep into their head, you get deep into their point of view. And basically it's as though you're experiencing their story directly through their eyes. It makes it very intimate. It's a good way of incorporating your character's thoughts, emotions, really getting deep inside their head, deep inside their soul, their character themselves. And it's really good if you want to limit the number of pronouns that you have to use when you're writing, because instead of saying, he, his, her, hers, the other woman's or the other guy's, or, instead of repeating names like 2 or 3 times throughout a paragraph, you can just say, I did this while he did that, or I felt this while he was doing that. And I'm mixing pronouns there, you see? Or just as an example, I sat while Adam stood, or I pitched while Brittany caught. I don't even know. I'm just picking names out of my figurative hat right now. Well, in this case, literal hat. But you get the idea. The second person point of view is one that doesn't get utilized very often because it can get confusing, especially if your readers are not accustomed to it. Second person point of view, it can get very confusing, so most people don't use it. That is where you, as the author, are talking directly to your reader. So you sat down. You sat down and read the paper. You use the words you, your, yours a lot. Basically, you're talking directly to the other person. I actually wrote a couple of fan fictions. Yes, I do write fan fiction. Wrote a few fan fictions a couple years ago. They were Batman fan fictions, and they were actually some of my most widely read fan fictions, but I wrote them in the second person. Basically, talking to the main character the entire time and describing what he felt, as though I were describing what he was feeling in real time. It was kind of a dark story, and I'm not going to go into it right now, but it was a fun exercise. But second person point of view is never one that I would want to write a novel in. You could probably write poetry in it, or short stories. That would probably be suitable for that. But I would never write a full novel in second person point of view. The third style is what we call third person limited point of view. That's where you describe the character that you're telling the story about in the third person, i.e. using his, hers, he, her, etc. But you do it in a way that severely limits the scope of the character's perception in that point of view. So it's what most stories are told in. Most stories are told in third person limited point of view, especially fiction stories, fantasy stories, etc. Anything that focuses primarily on one main character per scene, it's usually going to be told in third person limited point of view. That third person limited and first person are the two most common, I would say the most commonly utilized points of view in anything but nonfiction and history books, basically. And speaking of nonfiction and history books, they're commonly written in the fourth style, which is what we call third person omniscient. If you think about the word omniscient, it means all-knowing. In third person omniscient, you can have multiple people in a scene and you kind of describe what all of them are feeling at once, or what all of them, you can sometimes switch points of view in the middle of a scene. And personally, I'm not a big fan, because while it does give it kind of almost a cinematic sort of feel to it, like you're in the movies, it can be really jarring, and it's really tough to get absorbed in the story when you're writing from third person omniscient. Third person omniscient is the kind of point of view that you would commonly see in a history book or a nonfiction book when the author is describing multiple events that happened at the same time. So, say that you're reading a history book about a World War I battle where you had, I think it's the Maginot Line, and I might be getting my wars mixed up. Tell you what, better example, because I'm more familiar with this one. Battle of the Bulge during World War II in in France. Battle of the Bulge. it was in the Alsace-Lorraine area, but you had like 5 or 6 different major points along the line there where you had a bunch of different key events happening at the same time. And in third person omniscient, the author might describe what was happening at point A and then jump to what was happening at point B and then back to point A and then down to point C and so forth. It can get really disorienting sometimes, even if you're thinking about it chronologically, in the order in which the events happened. It can get really kind of jarring. And a lot of times it can get a little bit dry if you don't write it right. So those are the 4 points of view, major points of view that are more or less commonly used. Again, I would say that first person and third person limited are the most commonly used of the 4 of them. Third person omniscient or third person all-knowing is, I would say, less commonly used in my experience. And then second person is very rarely used outside of poetry and love letters. But it can be a pretty fun playground, pretty fun sandbox to play in. So, let me know what you think. If you'd like to discuss this more, drop me a comment below, say info, or if you want any advice about like where to get started with advertising or publishing, again, drop me a comment below, say info, and I will direct message you. And yeah, if you'd like to discuss this or anything, just let me know. Thanks, and I hope y'all have a fantastic evening. Bye-bye.